In the heart of Sudan, where the sun scorched the earth like an unrelenting furnace, Ahmed clutched his worn AK-47, his eyes scanning the dusty horizon of Fasher. He was no soldier by choice, just a former teacher from the outskirts of North Darfur, thrust into the chaos of a civil war that had ravaged his homeland since April 2023. The conflict pitted the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, against the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, a paramilitary group born from the infamous Janjaweed militias, and it had turned brothers into enemies, cities into graveyards. Ahmed had joined a local defense group to protect his family, but now, as the RSF tightened their 18-month siege on Fasher, he wondered if survival was even possible. The city, once a bustling hub of over 250,000 souls, had become a fortress of desperation. Sand barriers ringed its edges, makeshift walls against the encroaching horror. Food was scarce, water a luxury. Ahmed's wife, Fatima, huddled in their crumbling home with their two young children, whispering prayers amid the distant rumble of artillery. "This war will end us all," she had said the night before, her voice trembling as reports filtered in of RSF atrocities elsewhere in Darfur. Ahmed knew the stories: villages razed, civilians slaughtered in cold blood. But Fasher was the last SAF holdout in the region, a symbol of resistance. If it fell, the floodgates of hell would open. Days blurred into nights of terror. The RSF, led by the enigmatic General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hemeti, pounded the city with relentless attacks. Allied militias swarmed like locusts, their pickup trucks mounted with machine guns tearing through the outskirts. Ahmed manned a barricade with his comrades, firing sporadically at shadows in the dust. One evening, as the sun dipped low, a rocket slammed into a nearby market, killing dozens. Screams echoed through the streets, mingling with the wails of the wounded. "They're coming for us," whispered Omar, Ahmed's childhood friend and fellow fighter. Omar had lost his leg to a landmine months earlier, but refused to flee. The world watches but does nothing. By late October 2025, the siege broke. RSF forces overwhelmed the SAF defenses, capturing Fasher in a brutal assault that left streets littered with bodies. What followed was a nightmare of war crimes, documented by horrified medics and UN observers. The RSF unleashed a wave of summary executions targeting civilians fleeing the city. At least 1,500 people were killed in the initial days, their bodies dumped in mass graves visible even from satellite imagery. Ahmed and his family joined the exodus, over 60,000 souls streaming out like ghosts, dodging sniper fire and roadside ambushes. Fatima carried their daughter on her back, while Ahmed supported their son, whose tiny frame shook with fear. As they trudged toward the uncertain safety of neighboring Kordofan, tales of horror spread among the refugees. RSF fighters had stormed homes, dragging out men accused of SAF sympathies and executing them on the spot. Women and children weren't spared. Reports of rapes and lootings painted a picture of total disregard for human life. One survivor, an elderly man with bloodied clothes, recounted how his entire village was burned after RSF accused them of harboring rebels. "They shot my sons like dogs," he wept. Ahmed listened in silence, his heart hardening. The UN decried the fall of Fasher as a failure of the international community, with Secretary General Antonio Guterres warning that the war was spiraling out of control. The broader toll was staggering. Since the war's outbreak, sparked by a power struggle between SAF leader Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Hemeti, more than 150,000 lives had been lost. Soldiers, civilians, the innocent caught in the crossfire. Famine stalked the land, with 24 million people facing acute hunger, their crops destroyed, markets empty.
Displacement shattered communities. 14 million uprooted from their homes, refugees spilling into Chad, Egypt, and beyond. Foreign powers meddled, UAE backing RSF with arms, Egypt supporting SAF, fueling a proxy war that echoed Sudan's tragic history of division. Ahmed thought of his students back in Fasher, their dreams of peace buried under rubble. "How can we rebuild?" he muttered to Omar, as they rested under a sparse acacia tree. Yet, amid the despair, flickers of resilience emerged. Aid groups like the International Rescue Committee delivered what they could: food packets, medical kits, hope in plastic wrappers. In makeshift camps, stories were shared, bonds formed. Fatima, ever the optimist, sang lullabies to the children, weaving tales of a Sudan reborn. "One day we'll return," she promised. Ahmed nodded, though doubt gnawed at him. The RSF's advance into Kordofan brought fresh clashes, with at least 40 more killed in recent days. The International Criminal Court probed atrocities, but justice felt distant. As night fell, Ahmed stared at the stars, pondering the world's silence. Fasher's fall wasn't just a military defeat, it was a genocide in slow motion, a cry for intervention ignored. He vowed to fight on, not with guns, but by bearing witness. For his family, for Sudan, the story wasn't over. In the face of 150,000 graves, hope was the ultimate rebellion. The war raged, but so did the human spirit, unyielding in the sands of Darfur.